Hey friends, welcome back. I don't really know how this one happened, but we have another book haul. We have almost every genre that I'm even remotely interested in this book haul, so there should be a little bit of something for everyone. So let's get into it. These are all in no particular order. This one happens to be on the top. It is Fairy Loot's adult fantasy book only subscription box. This one was the cottagecore theme for May, and it is, wow, really excited about it. The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. This edition is so stunning. Look at that foil. Look at these edges. Wow. Really stunning bee and honeycomb edges. Inside's obviously very beautiful. Naked hardback is really beautiful, obviously. And it's a reversible dust jacket. Wow, look at how pretty. The original cover is my favorite though, and this one is, Marigold has always preferred the company of the spirits of the meadow to any other suitors who have tried to woo her. So when her grandmother whisks her away to the family cottage on the tiny isle of Innisfree with an offer to train her as the next Honey Witch, she accepts immediately. But her newfound magic and independence come with a price. No one can fall in love with the Honey Witch. Tragic. But then there's Lottie, a notoriously grumpy skeptic who doesn't believe in magic, shows up on her doorstep. Marigold can't resist the challenge to prove to her that magic is real. But soon, Marigold begins to care for Lottie in ways she never expected, and when darker magic awakens and threatens to destroy her home, she must fight for much more than her new home, at the risk of losing her magic and her heart. I think that sounds really, really cute. This is a new release as of this year, and I have already heard some pretty good things, so I'm really excited. This next one just came in the mail actually today. It is The Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Buehlman. This one, it sounds so fun. I know this is the first in a series. I don't know if we have a date for the second book in the series, but there was one published after this one that was a prequel that came out this year, and it's called The Daughter's War. And I don't know if you should read The Daughter's War before this one because it's technically like 0, then book 1, but I think I'm gonna go in publication order because I think that might be fun. So I got The Black Tongue Thief. The catchphrase is, your smallest mistake could be your biggest adventure. I believe this is a grimdark fantasy. It's for fans of Nicholas Eames' Kings of the Wild and Joe Abercrombie's The Blade itself. And those are two vibes that I would love to see join, because Kings of the Wild is sort of like tongue-in-cheek, kind of funny. And then The Blade itself, I haven't read yet, but I know that it's like grimdark and a little bit more serious. I think it might also have that like humor in it. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I remember. And this one is about our main character, Kinch-na Shanak, who owes the Takers Guild a small fortune for his education as a thief, which includes, but is not limited to, lockpicking, knife fighting, wall scaling, fall breaking, lie weaving, and trap making, plus a few other small magics. His debt has driven him to lie by weight in the old forest road, planning to rob the next traveler who crosses his path. But today, he has picked the wrong mark. Galva is a knight, a survivor of the brutal goblin wars, and a handmaiden of the goddess of death. She is searching for her queen, missing since a distant northern city fell to the giants. Unsuccessful in his robbery and lucky to escape with his life, Kinch now finds his fate entangled with Galva's. Common enemies and uncommon dangers force thief and knight on an epic journey where goblins hunger for human flesh, krakens hunt in dark waters, and honor is a luxury few can afford. I think that sounds phenomenal. I love the idea of a thief and a knight working together, and the final sentence, that a journey where goblins hunger for human flesh, krakens hunt in dark waters, and honor is a luxury few can afford. I think it sounds right up my alley, and especially if it has a little bit of humor within the writing, which it seems like it will, I think it could be really fun. The next one is The Echo of Old Books by Barbara Davis. This is such a cute cover. This one says, rare book dealer Ashlyn Greer's affinity for books extends beyond the intoxicating scent of old paper, ink, and leather. She can feel the echoes of the book's previous owners, an emotional fingerprint only she can read. When Ashlyn discovers a pair of beautifully bound volumes that appear to have never been published, her gift quickly becomes an obsession. Not only is each inscribed with a startling incrimination, but the authors, Hemi and Bell, tell conflicting sides of a tragic romance. With no trace of how these mysterious books came into the world, Ashlyn is caught up in the decades-old literary mystery, beckoned by two hearts in ruins, whoever they were, wherever they are. Determined to learn the truth behind the doomed lover's tale, she reads on, following a trail of broken promises and seemingly unforgivable betrayals. The more Ashlyn learns about Hemi and Bell, the nearer she becomes to bringing closure to their love story and the unfinished chapters of her own life. The idea that she can read the magic of the people who had the books prior, that idea is so phenomenal. I haven't heard anything like that before, and I think that it sounds really fantastical, whimsical, and like our main characters going on a journey of self-discovery, but also uncovering a bookish mystery, and I think it sounds really fun. This next one I just got so I can prepare for the third book to come out. I haven't even read the first, but I wanted to get the second so that, I could have it. The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. The first book is is Shadow of the Gods, and it goes like this: Shadow of the Gods, Hunger of the Gods, and then there is Fury of the Gods, I think. And I just am really excited. The like greatness that these two creatures have on this cover, like that's a little person at the bottom of this book cover right here. This should be really fun. I know I love John Going's writing. I know I love his world building, so I'm just excited. This next one was a recommendation from my friend Emily, and it is The Last Watch by J.S. Dews. It is a gripping space opera debut, and I love when a sci-fi is labeled as a space opera. I think that those are the ones I'm most excited to try. This one says, The Divide. It's the edge of the universe. Now it's collapsing and taking everyone and everything with it. The only ones who can stop it are the Sentinels, the recruits, the exiles, and the court-martialed dregs of the military. At the Divide, Adequin Rake commands the Argus. She has no resources, no comms, nothing, except for the soldiers no one wanted. Her ace in the hole could be Kavlon Mercer, genius asshole and exiled prince who nuked his grandfather's genetics facility for reasons. She knows they're humanity's last chance. High stakes, space opera. I'm here to try it out, especially because Emily says it's one of her favorite books so far this year. That's high praise, and I trust her. Okay, this next one you'll recognize because I unhauled the hardcover of this so that I could get the paperback edition, and it's A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. I have the paperback in the rest of this series, and I just wanted to have a matching set, especially because the new covers have come out of this series, and I have all the old covers of the old ones, so I had to like jump on it before they like stopped making these. Well, I actually got this on Pango because I think they have stopped selling them. I don't know, but I'm glad that I got it before it was too late. This is book 4 in the, oh my god, what's it called? Ember in the Ashes series, and I still haven't finished it. I've read the first 3, but at this point I feel like I might have to reread / at least watch some recap videos. So if you know of anyone who's done recap videos on this whole series, let a girl know down below, because I would like to finish the series out. I was really enjoying it. This next one, also kind of excited about. I don't know, I was scrolling on Pango, because since I've been selling books over there, I had some Pango bucks to spend, and I saw that Erin from Booked and Busy had read this book, but it is 7 Deaths of an Empire by G.R. Matthews. It was really the cover that caught my attention, and it is about General Borden, who has a lifetime of duty and sacrifice behind him in the service of the Empire. But with rebellion brewing in the countryside and assassins, thieves, and politicians vying for power in the city, it is all Borden can do to protect the heir to the throne. Apprentice magician Chiron is assigned to the late Emperor's honor guard, escorting his body on the long road back to the capital. Mistrusted and feared by his own people, even a magician's power may fail when enemies emerge from the forests, for whoever is in control of the Emperor's body controls the succession. What? That's so interesting. So even though the Emperor is dead, whoever's in control of his body controls like the outcome of what's going on. Like that's really interesting. The escorting the body down like a long road is giving The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez, and I am here for this idea. I was looking up to see if this is a series or if it's just a standalone, and it looks like it's gonna be a standalone, question mark. There's no like number 1 next to it. And I'm also finding out that Erin hasn't read it and she just marked it as want to read. I knew that I saw her in relation to this book. I guess that's close enough. This is exciting. What's also really exciting is the fact that I actually bought this book. All because of Kayla from Books and Lala, because she was, if I'm remembering correctly from her vlog, searching for a romantasy that she would enjoy, and she ended up reading this one. This author hasn't really been on my radar until that vlog that she read, because she liked this book. It is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. I've always been intrigued by this cover. I don't really know much about it at all. It says deception is the most wicked game of all. I'm truly just like forever trusting Kayla with my life. The synopsis says, sinner, villain, wicked. The Prince of Envy has never claimed to be a saint, but when a cryptic note arrives signaling the beginning of a deadly game, he knows it will take more than a hint of sin to win and save his falling demon court. Riddles, hexed objects, anonymous players, nothing will stand in his way, though none of his meticulous plans prepare him for her, the frustrating artist who ignites his sin like no other. Virtuous, darling, liar. So dramatic. The trouble with scoundrels and blackguards is that they haven't a modicum of honor. A fact Miss Camilla Antonius learns after one desperate mistake allows Waverly Green's most notorious rake to blackmail her. To avoid a ruinous scandal, Camilla is forced to enter a devil's bargain with Envy, little expecting his game will awaken her true nature. Together, Envy and Camilla must embark on a perilous journey through the underworld from glittering demon courts to the sultry vampire realm and beyond, beyond while trying to avoid the most dangerous trap of all, falling in love. You knew it was coming. I like the idea of like demon courts, vampires are involved, and the Prince of Envy. It could be fun. I know. Oh wait, this is the same author that has Kingdom of the Wicked as well as like the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. So Stalking Jack the Ripper, all of those haven't really been books that I've been super interested in. And then I think Kingdom of the Wicked was a YA fantasy, if I'm remembering correctly. And I actually think it's in my unhaul pile. But here's this one by her. And I think I would be more excited to try this out because I think it is adult. So it has some adult themes. I think it gets spicy. Okay, next. A couple recent book of the month choices. We have The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This is their most recent release. I remember why I bought this. It's because we have a new romance between the buttoned up heir of a grocery chain and a free-spirited artist as they fake their relationship in order to receive a massive inheritance. Absolutely. Fake dating, I immediately chose it. I haven't yet read from Christina Lauren and I've heard nothing but good things. I don't know. I feel like they're romance authors that I just have to try. And then once I try them, I think I will love them because I hear nothing but great things. So maybe this will be my first one. Then I also got The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. If you watched my recently 5-star prediction video, this was on there. My mom read it recently. She really loved it. And then everyone in the comments also like sounded off in agreement that this book is phenomenal. So here it is. I have it. I'm going to read it. When? I don't know, but it'll happen. It's a historical fiction book and it is Alaska, 1974. And our main character is Ernst, I think. He's a veteran from the Vietnam War. He loses another job and makes an impulsive decision to move his family out to Alaska. At first, Alaska seems to be the answer to their prayers. In a wild, remote corner of the state, they find a fiercely independent community of strong men and even stronger women. The long sunlit days and the generosity of the locals make up for the Albrights' lack of preparation and dwindling resources. Albrights is the family that moved out. It's Ernst Albright. I didn't say that earlier. But as winter approaches and darkness descends on Alaska, Ernst's fragile mental state deteriorates and the family begins to fracture. Soon the perils outside pale in comparison to the threats from within. In their small cabin, covered in snow, blanketed in 18 hours of night, Lenny, their daughter, and mother learn the terrible truth. They are on their own. In the wild, there's no one to save them but themselves. That seems pretty heavy. Like it would really make me cry. Here it is. Next, my other choice was Middletide by Sarah Crouch. I just couldn't say no to this cover. I simply didn't care. I loved how it looked so much. Like, give me anything with water and pine trees. Wow, stunning. Also, the catchphrase was, it's an intensely atmospheric debut. Like, atmospheric alone is a buzzword, but intensely atmospheric? Okay, high hopes. Oh, it says, one peaceful morning in the small town of Point Orchards, the lifeless body of Dr. Erin Landry is found hanging from a tree on the property of prodigal son and failed writer Elijah Leith. Sheriff Jim Godbout's initial investigation points to an obvious suicide, but upon closer inspection, there seems to be clues of foul play when he discovers that the circumstances of the beautiful doctor's death were ripped straight from Elijah's own novel. Out of money and motivation, 33-year-old Elijah returns to his empty childhood home to lick the wounds of his futile writing career. Hungry for purpose, he throws himself into restoring the ramshackle cabin his father left behind. As the town of Point Orchard turns against him, Elijah must prove his innocence while fighting against an unexpected foe who was close and cunning enough to flawlessly frame him for murder. I think that sounds super interesting. It's like a really nice small size, so I feel like a lot is going to be packed in very quickly. Hopefully it is like fast-paced as well as very atmospheric as it's promising, so I think it sounds pretty interesting. Next, we have a gift that one of my patrons sent me. I'm really excited about it. It's from Marina. It is called Crooked Plow by Itamar Vieira Jr. Look at how cute this cover is. I'm so excited about it. It says, it's the most important Brazilian novel of the century so far. It has a blend of magical and social realism, and it has won 3 literary awards and global acclaim. Hello? Deep in the neglected hinterlands of Bahia, Brazil, 2 sisters find a mysterious knife beneath their grandmother's bed. Momentarily mystified by its power, they decide to taste its metal. The shuddering violence that follows marks their lives and binds them together forever. And that's really all it says. I'm like super intrigued by it. And I love Marina's note. It says, I hope you like it, Sid. A little of Brazil for you to get to know. And I'm really excited to experience this. Thank you so much. Next, we have this cover that I got from Blackwell's because I wanted this book, but I wanted this UK cover, okay? It is Bellies. I just love it. It's so cute. And I know that this book is actually really hard hitting. Okay, so it says, it begins as your typical boy meets boy. While out with friends at a university drag night, Tom buys Ming a drink. Confident confident and witty, a charming young playwright, Ming is a perfect antidote to Tom's awkward energy, and their connection is instant. Tom finds himself deeply and desperately drawn into Ming's orbit, and on the cusp of graduation, he's already mapped out their future together. But shortly after they move to London to start their next chapter, Ming announces her intention to transition. From London to Kuala Lumpur, New York to Cologne, we follow Tom and Ming as they face shifts in their relationship in the wake of Ming's transition, through a spiral of unforeseen crises, some personal, some professional, some life-altering. Tom and Ming are forced to confront the vastly different shapes of their lives and have taken since graduating, and each must answer the essential question: is it worth losing part of yourself to become who you want to be? I think that this book is super important, especially in today's day and age, like always, but especially now. And it feels like I might just make my TBR take a little bit of a diversion to add this to my TBR this month. Okay, next we have some classic fantasy that I'm really excited about. I have this fun little bind up of Anne McCaffrey's The Dragon Riders of Pern. I just love it. So it has Dragon Flight, Dragon Quest, and The White Dragon, all in this little bind up. Isn't that fun? It's a great little floppy bind up paperback. There's a lot of books within the Dragon Riders of Pern world, but this is the first 3. And when I looked up Anne McCaffrey, I was trying to find where I should start with her books. There were a lot of people saying that Dragon Riders of Pern is a good place to start, and plus, there's dragons, so it sounded perfect to me. There's quick little synopses of all 3 of these books, but the first one is Dragonflight, and it says, after 10 long turns, Lessa was ready to come out of hiding, to claim her birthright and become werewoman of Bendon. But suddenly, the deadly silver threads once again threatened all Pern with destruction. The mighty telepathic dragons were fewer in number, not nearly enough to protect the planet in its hour of greatest peril, until Lessa hatched a daring and dangerous scheme to rally support from people who had long ago ceased to exist. Interesting. Anne McCaffrey is considered like a classic fantasy author, and if you've been following me for, at least a couple months, you might know that I'm starting to collect older fantasy and dip my toe into some of the classics. So I'm excited to have this one and try it out. Speaking of classic fantasy, we got these. This is all one series because I did that thing that you should never do, where you buy the whole series before you know if you like the first one. Listen, they were on Pango for like $5 a pop. So yeah, I did buy all of them. Do I know if I'm gonna like them? No, I don't. Do I care? Not really. There actually might be more than just 4. So the series is Bardic Voices by Mercedes Lackey, another classic fantasy author that I really want to try out. This cover is so fun. No one makes covers like this anymore, and it's a shame. But this is The Lark and the Wren, Bardic Voices #1. So it says, Ghost and Bard. With the proper schooling, young Rune would be one of the greatest bards her world has ever seen, even if only she knows it. Unfortunately, the daughter of a tavern wench at the Hungry Bear, no matter how talented, doesn't get much in the way of formal training. What she does get is frustrated. One night, to back up a brag she probably wouldn't have made if she weren't so mad, she went up to play her fiddle for the ghost of Skull Hill. Everyone knows that no one who's ever gone up to Skull Hill at night comes down again. Not alive, anyway. But when the ghost appears, Rune strikes a bargain. If the ghost tires of her playing before morning, her life is his. If he is still listening when the sun glints over yonder hill, she will have earned both life and a sack of silver. Let the music begin. I think that sounds super fun. I love that, like, there's a paranormal aspect to it. I was expecting it once I saw this cover, because there's obviously some sort of like Reaper or ghost, which in and of itself, this cover, it's just iconic. It's really fun. And it looks like the second book, which is The Robin and the Kestrel. Bardic Voices book #2 is following a different set of characters. And then a 2.5 is A Cast of Corbies. This one has 2 authors. There's Mercedes Lackey and Josepha Sherman. Then we have The Eagle and the Nightingales as book 3 in the series. And then finally we have 4 and 20 Blackbirds, book 4 in the series. I don't know, here they are. I think they're fun. I'm excited about them. And then finally we have 3 more. There's a monthly subscription box called Aardvark Book Club. They asked me if they could send me a personalized box, and why would I say no? They were like, you don't have to post about it or anything, like we just would love for you to like try it out. I was like, absolutely, and I'm still gonna talk about it because you're sending me these for free and I really appreciate it. So 1, the box is super fun. It says think inside the box. It came with this really fun way to like potentially choose what book you might want. It says you may choose a door to enter, and then depending on what door you choose, it's like a associated with a book on the back. I just think that's really fun. They sent some bookmarks, which are cute. I have little ears. They're aardvarks in case you didn't know. And they sent me 3 books. They asked me what genres I prefer, and I think I said fantasy, obviously, and then I also said I do like thrillers and horror, and I think I got 3 thrillers. 2 thrillers and a fantasy. So one of them I already have. I already have Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I actually have a Fairy Loot edition of it, so I'm not sure if I will end up keeping this one. I might put this one on my Pango just because I don't need 2 copies of it. This is the author of A Dowry of Blood. It's their newest release. Then I also got sent Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes, which I am really interested in S.A. Barnes books. I have Dead Silence by this author that I really still want to try out. And this one is a space horror. And a couple of the like quotes on the back says, S.A. Barnes has written a skin-crawling, delicious tale of exploration, exploitation, and electrifying horror. Her book perfectly blends the wonder and fun of space opera with the ick and squeal of sci-fi horror thriller. That was the first quote I read and immediately got excited about it. Then I also got one that I hadn't heard of before, The House of Last Resort by Christopher Golden. Katrina Ward blurbed it on the back and said, dark, eerie, full of dread, each page exudes menace. I couldn't put it down. Part of me remained at the House of Last Resort long after I closed the book. Another like amazing quote that made me super excited to pick this up. So I don't know if anyone from the Aardvark team like would ever watch this video, but thank you so much, and I'm really excited about these. The last book that I actually bought recently, it's not here yet, but it is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. I love We Spread by this author, and I think it's time for me to finally try this little sort of backlist by him out. Oh, I did also haul Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I think if you watched my TBR video, I think I held it up in that video, but here formally I'm telling you that I also hauled that book. It's downstairs. I don't want to go get it, but I have it now. That one is like a small town hockey, I want to say like contemporary mystery, first in the series, and I have heard nothing but great things. I'm excited to pick it up this month. Hi, there's actually one other book that I hauled that I forgot about. It is called Sirens and Muses by Antonia Angris. This one is a queer literary fiction that takes place at an elite art college where our main character is Louisa, and she has an unexpected attraction to her charismatic roommate Karina. They're drawn into an intense, sensual, and artistic relationship, one that forces them to confront their deepest desires and fears. But Karina also can't shake her fascination with Preston, a senior and anti-capitalist internet provocateur who is publicly feuding with visiting professor and political painter Robert. And then the Preston guy concocts an explosive hoax which thrusts all of these 4 artists into the cutthroat New York art world. What really drew me to this book is some of the reviews say that it's plotless, pretentious, and Sally Rooney-esque, and I love how that sounds. Also, the final one that drew the nail in the coffin for me was that someone said that this prompted them to write poetry for the first time in years, and that was really exciting for me. So yeah, I have this book now and I'm excited about it. But with that concludes this book haul. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit and supporting this hobby of mine. Cause you know, collecting books and reading books are 2 different things. You know, they go hand in hand, but they're separate entities entirely. So again, I don't know how this haul happened. It just slowly kept accumulating. I'm not mad, but here we are. Regardless, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. If you are still watching and don't know what to say in the comments, leave me the honey emoji. And while you're down there, please do subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye. Oh my God, I'm struggling. Wow. Ah, holy shit. Wow, 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 wow. Oh. And I didn't drop them. Wow, someone give me a Medal of Honor. Okay, was I recording? Okay, God bless.